The three richest people alive, Elon Musk, Larry Page, and Sergey Brin, are all engineers. They all came up writing code. So if coding is the superpower that builds the biggest companies in history, why do 99 out of 100 developers who sit down to build a SaaS end up with a beautiful product, 6 months of their time gone, and 0 paying customers? Here's the uncomfortable truth that I'm going to prove to you in this video. Building a SaaS is one of the worst things that you can do as a software engineer. Not because you can't build it. You can. Actually, probably better than ever now, because AI will write half the code for you. It's that the code was never the hard part. And the moment you ship is the moment that the real problem actually starts. And that's reason number 1 of 6 that almost nobody tells you that we're gonna cover in this video. It's also the exact reason that your last side project most likely went nowhere. So stick with me, because by the end of this video, you will know one thing for sure: whether you should be building the SaaS that you're thinking of right now in your head, and if you should, the exact order that actually works. Now, reason number 1, when you imagine building a SaaS, this is pretty much the dream. You build it once, you ship it, the money starts rolling in while you're asleep. And you want to call it recurring revenue, you want to call it passive income, whatever name you want to put on it. But you're on a beach somewhere, and Stripe is pinging your phone, all the notifications are coming in, your income's going up, and the hours that you're working continuously go down. That's pretty much the pitch when it comes to a SaaS that most people think of. But for almost every single developer that I know who has tried to go down this route, it looks more like this. Maybe, just maybe, a trickle of revenue eventually shows up, but the hours never actually come down. Because with a SaaS, you don't just build the product and forget about it, you actually become the product yourself. You are the only developer. Most often than not, you are the support inbox at 11 at night. You are going to be writing the onboarding emails that you had no idea how to write. You're going to need to do all the marketing yourself, except that you never actually marketed anything before in your life. You're going to need to do selling yourself, except you've never been on sales help before in your life. And here's the cruel part. The thing that makes software so powerful that one person can build it is the exact thing that actually traps you. Because that one person is you. Forever. A real business runs without its founder. If the owner disappears for a month and the company keeps printing money, that is because other people are running it and they have systems in place. But your SaaS, if you disappear for a week or go on vacation and everything stops, what's gonna happen? Well, everything's gonna come crashing down. So you didn't build a passive income machine. All you really built yourself was a second full-time job that for the first year or 2 is gonna pay you absolutely nothing for the work that you do. So that's reason number 1. A SaaS is sold to you as a lifestyle business. But for most developers, it's the exact opposite. It is the least passive thing you can actually do. Reason 2 is the big one, and it's the reason your last project died. Let me show you exactly what you do when you build a SaaS the way developers actually build a SaaS. You pick a stack, and you spend a full day arguing with yourself about the specific stack. You set up the repo, you design the schema, you build authentication, you build the billing, you build the dashboard, you refactor the entire thing you built last week because it's not maybe clean enough, you add the feature you thought of in the shower, you fix the bug that's been bugging you for the past week, you write all the documents that you need to write, you write your README, 3 months go by, 6 months, and then, only then, when the product is finally ready, you sit back and think, okay, now who's actually gonna use this? Who's gonna pay? Who's gonna give me money to use this? Do you see the problem there? You started with the product and went looking for the customer for that product. And almost every single developer knows this deep down, that this is completely backwards. One of the individuals inside Code to CEO, my startup accelerator, even said to me word for word, I start with the product, they not look for customers. And I know that's backwards. I mean, he knew, but he did it anyway, because as software engineers, we simply can't help ourselves. Because building feels like progress to us, and selling feels like actual risk. So here's a line that I want you to burn into your literal mind. Most developers do not fail at SaaS because their code is bad or they lack the technical skills. They fail because they built a product for a customer who was never in the same room with them. You did not build the wrong thing per se. You could have built the right thing, but for the wrong customer, or for no customer at all. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, okay, but go fine. I'll just market it. I'll get users. And you're right. That is a genuine answer. But here's the cost that nobody warns you when it comes to marketing a SaaS. Chances are, you're probably a pretty damn good engineer. You can solve problems 99% of people on earth can't. But when it comes to marketing, positioning, distribution, sales, these aren't things that engineers are used to. They are actually completely different games with completely different rules, and being world-class at one tells you almost nothing about the other. The market does not care how clean your architecture is. The market does not care how many languages you know. It gives you 0 points for a 99.9% uptime nobody asked for. It only cares fundamentally about one thing. Does this solve a problem that I already know I have badly enough that I'll pay for it? And here's how the time actually splits for most developers. 6 months they spent perfecting a product. 6 days they spent thinking about who would actually buy. You'll A/B test a button color before you'll talk to a single human being about whether they actually ever want the entire damn thing that you built. But let me be fair. Some developers do crack the selling side and the marketing side and build actual great businesses. But every single one of those software engineers had to learn that it was a different game first. They stopped being only an engineer. The problem was never your skills. It's that skills and business sense are two fundamentally different games. And you've most likely spent the last 5, 10, 15 years getting elite at only one of them, and you've spent close to 0 hours on the other one. Moving on to reason number 4, and this one's brand new, it didn't exist about 3 to 4 years ago. Let's say you do build it, and let's say even if people somehow end up using it, your SaaS now has no real moat. And the thing that killed the moat is the same thing you're probably using to build it: AI. Here's what's happening right now. Anybody, and I mean pretty much anybody, can vibe code a working SaaS in, let's say, a weekend. The build is no longer the hard part. It's no longer rare. It's no longer defensible. Coding has become commoditized. I looked at thousands of these live coded apps a while back. I have a video on that. Over 97% of them completely failed. Not because the code was broken. For the most part, the code was fine. They all failed because the code was never the moat that people thought in the first place. And to understand this better, there's a concept I need you to understand because it explains this entire shift: the commoditization of building. When something becomes cheap and easy to copy, its value collapses for the most part. So for 30 years, if you're saying I can build it, that was your edge, that edge is now going to be evaporating in real time. The moment your SaaS gets the smallest bit of traction, 3 other people are gonna clone it over a weekend with a prompt, and you're gonna be in a feature war that you cannot win, because chances are there's nothing to win here. Features are free now. Building is gonna be extremely easy now. So if the build is free, what's actually defensible? What is your moat on a SaaS? Well, it's the thing that developers ignore: the customer relationship, the distribution, a specific audience that trusts you and what you build. It's all about the distribution that you own, the problem that you understand more deeply than anybody else. Those things are the moat. And notice, none of it is related to your code. Your entire business, if you built it on the product, is now built on the one thing that the whole world just got for free. Reason number 5 is the quietest and actually the most dangerous reason, because it doesn't feel like a problem at first glance. It actually feels like being productive. When you're a developer, your identity is I build the things using software. So every problem that you meet, your brain solves the same exact way. Build something. New idea in the shower? Well, start building. See a competitor ship a feature? Okay, go build it. You're bored on a Sunday, don't know what to do? Well, spin up a new repo. Let's start building. And before you know it, you are now 3 side projects deep, each one about 80% finished, each one with roughly 0 paying customers. All because building feels like progress and selling feels like rejection, and you don't want to get rejected. So you keep choosing the thing that feels safe, which is more and more and more building. And another one of the founders inside Code to CEO, my startup accelerator, he described this perfectly. He said, before this, I was stuck in shiny object syndrome, constantly jumping between product ideas, Never sure if any of them were worth it. I had the technical skill to build, but what I was missing was the discipline to take one thing from an idea to a paying customer. So if you've got a graveyard of these half-built side projects sitting in your GitHub repo right now, each one is pretty much a little piece of hope that you abandoned. And I want you to do me a favor. Type the word graveyard in the comments if this is you. I want you to see just how many other software engineers are sitting in the same exact place as you right now. You are so far from alone, it's not even going to be funny. Chances are over 90% of you watching this video are going to be able to comment graveyard. Because here's exactly what's going on. Once again, the building is not the hard part for you. It never was. The building is where you hide from the part that actually makes money. Is what you use as a shield to prevent doing the one thing that's going to give your SaaS an actual success. And that's reason number 6. The SaaS dream can quietly keep you trapped in the exact situation that you're trying to escape. Here's how it's going to play out. Let's assume you're a senior software engineer. You're good. You build features that made your company millions of dollars, and your reward was a pretty much $2,000 raise and maybe a calendar invite about coming back to the office. You start feeling the ceiling. And so every night after work, you open up your side project and it becomes your escape hatch. When this SaaS hits, I'm finally out. When I make it big, I can finally quit. And it's the dream that gets you through the stand-ups. It's that dream that gets you through all the hard parts of your job. But understand that side project isn't an exit plan. It is simply a comfort blanket that you're lying to yourself with. Because as long as the next build might be the one that finally works, you never, ever, ever have to do the harder, scarier, and faster thing. Build a real business around the problem that you can already see with customers who already exist that you have to talk to today. I watched countless developers spend 2, 3, 4 years on a graveyard of products while the faster path was sitting right there in front of them the whole time. And the false belief that keeps them stuck is always the same. The next one I build will be the one. The next one is going to be the hit. The next one is going to get me there. It won't be. Not because you can't build it or you're not smart, but because the build was never the bottleneck. And that brings us to the real question. So let's add everything up. A SaaS makes you the product in the wrong order with no moat, while it traps your identity and actually keeps you from the faster path. So should you ever build one? I'll give you the honest answer. The same one that I would give a friend. For most developers, no. I would not recommend you start a SaaS. You're going to be happier, richer, and a lot more financially free a lot sooner if you start building a service business or a productized offer around a problem you already understand. And then, if you want to, making that into a SaaS later on once you've already got customers paying you and that problem has been validated. But, and this matters, for one specific kind of developer, building software is still going to be one of the highest leverage things a human being can do on this particular planet. And that one type of software engineer is going to be the one who already has the advantage in starting one. Either they have the network to be able to get them to the people, either they have the distribution already somehow, or they have some type of extraneous circumstance that gives them an advantage in SaaS. It's not something that they're completely blind with. Regardless of whichever path you want to consider, for 99% of you, I want you to go down the service path. Because that path is going to teach you everything you need to know on how to actually later, if you want to go down to the SaaS path, make it successful. So here's the test that you can kind of do. If you've already made it this far in the video, you've heard every reason that SaaS is considered a trap, but some stubborn part of you is still going to say, doesn't matter, Bigo, I'm different. I want to build something of my own. I want that leverage. Good. That's exactly the person that I'm talking to right now. Let me show you what version of that will actually work for you. And we're going to start with the thing that felt like the worst news ever. AI commoditizing the build. That's not necessarily bad news for you. That's the best news that you had in over a decade. Because if building is no longer the hard part, the bottleneck now moves to the one place your brain is built to win. Choosing the right problem, obsessing over it, and reaching out to the right people. The game just completely shifted from who can build it to who can think clearly about what's worth building and putting that in front of somebody. And that's what you're gonna need to get really good at. So if I had to escape my job all over again, knowing exactly what I know now, and try to rebuild my 7-figure company exact way, that's the exact order I'd do it in. And it's almost the perfect reverse of what you did last time when you tried building a SaaS. So, number one, stop calling it a SaaS, call it a business. The second you do, the question in your head changes from, okay, what should I build, to more about whose problems can I actually solve. That one swap will fix half of all the problems you're going to deal with. Two, you need to pick a specific problem that you have an advantage in. So where does your unique advantage cross paths? The experience that you have, the location that you're in, and the network that you have. Somewhere across all three in that intersection will be the problem that you need to pick. And don't go after a niche. A niche means nothing in this day and age. Go after a problem. Because when you pick a niche, get into something you have no clue about, that's exactly where most SaaS actually goes to die. And three, the problem you're going to choose, make sure people are already paying to solve it. Contact at least 10 or 20 individuals before you write a single line of code, whether it's for a service or whether it's for a SaaS. This is the step that you've probably skipped every single time, and it's the only one that actually predicts whether you're going to make money or not. 4. You need to solve the distribution problem before you solve the product problem. Decide how you're going to reach the buyers before you build a thing that you'll sell them. The reason other people make money from ideas you could have had first isn't that they're necessarily smarter than you. It's that they solved the distribution first and you solved it last. Or you pretty much never solved it if that's the case. 5. You need to sell it before you build it. You need to get a real yes, ideally a payment, on the problem, not the polished product. Your first customer is going to be proof, not necessarily about perfection here, even if it's a small deposit that they pay you, but one paying human is going to beat 1,000 lines of beautiful unused code that goes nowhere. And 6, now you can finally build the smallest possible thing that solves that one problem. You can call it an MVP, a minimum viable product, or whatever you want. But here's where AI finally becomes your unfair advantage instead of your downfall. Let it do the grunt work so you can ship the MVP in days, not months, because the code is the last step, not the first. And 7, only once it's working and someone's paying you do you systemize this and scale it. And this is the moment, the only moment, that the original SaaS dream can actually become true. You built it once, you now own it, and the hours start going down and the income finally starts going up. So the SaaS leverage was real, it was not fugazi, but you were trying to claim it before you actually earned it. So that's the whole game here. You start with the service. Once you validate the problem enough to systemize it, then you can turn it into a proper SaaS that is the SaaS that you so-called have always dreamed of. And if you don't believe me, you can take a look at every single multi-million, multi-billion dollar SaaS out there right now in the market. They all started off with a service. Take a look at Netflix, take a look at Amazon. Some of the biggest companies in the world started off as a customer-facing service business first before they productized into a SaaS. So if you watched this entire video, heard every reason this is a trap, and you still want to build something of your own, then what you need to do is click the link down below and apply to Code to CEO, my startup accelerator, where we will literally talk about how you can go about doing exactly what you want to do. As always, thank you so much for watching this video and have a good rest of your day.